Hello, today we're going to be reviewing the 12mm Olympus f2.0 lens. Recently picked up this lens. I've been shooting with it for probably about a month or so. I felt it was about time that get some reviews out there on this one. The first thing I think is to notice that it is quite the beautiful looking lens. You know, if you're talking about lens envy, this is really one of those eye-catching lenses out there. Olympus has done a really great job of marketing these high-build quality lenses now for the Micro Four Thirds system. I think, you know, especially with recently the OMD has come out, that the Micro Four Thirds mirrorless marketplace has really started to take more of a professional look. Now, I think one of the precursors to this lens, and one of the reasons we're seeing some of these high quality lenses, was probably from the much hyped Voigtlander. This is the 25mm f/0.95 manual focus Voigtlander lens. And I brought this one out today as well because I think with build quality and aesthetics, it's probably a fairly decent comparable to what we're looking at today. So one of the really nice things that you might not be able to see, but Olympus has gone ahead and with these nice new blue stripe across the end of the lens to really distinguish their high quality Micro Four Thirds lenses from the rest of the market. One really great feature about this lens is the focus ring. It's not a bad focus ring. I don't find it as creamy as I would like. The Voigtlander is definitely much creamier and just feels like, you know, you're digging your fingers through butter when you turn this focus ring. But one of the great features of this is that it actually has this sleeve that you pull back, and when you pull it back, you'll see that you have your zoning here. And this, what it does is it pulls it into manual focus for you. So there's no need to override it on the camera. And for people like myself that quite enjoy manual focus lenses, they've really hit the mark on this one. You know, it's great. You're just moving along. You're letting your autofocus do its thing, and then you just drop down and you're in manual focus, and off you go. It's also really great for street photography. If you focus by zoning, you can really, you've got your scales on, and so it's really great. It is all metal. You'll see all the mounts are all metal. The optics of this lens are pretty superb. You know, the nice crisp photos. One thing I do find, there's a fair bit of distortion. It is a wide angle lens, one of the widest for the system. But I do think it is probably the best wide-angle lens for the Micro Four Thirds system. I have not yet used the 17mm by Voigtlander, but the big distinguishing factor there being manual focus versus an autofocus lens. This lens does, one of the downsides of the lens, which I didn't appreciate, was the lens hood. The lens hood is gorgeous, it's metal, it really gives it that classic rangefinder look, which personally I love. You know, you get a lot of lens envy when you're walking around the streets, and you know, you get these people with their big DSLRs going, you know, what the heck is that guy shooting with? It's super great. It doesn't come with the lens. For the price point of this lens cost me about $800 Canadian. The lens hood was an extra $100 on top of that. I thought for the price point, either jack up the price of the lens a little bit and include the hood with it, or lower the price of the lens hood. That was a little much, and it took me a while to really convince myself that to purchase this lens hood. Now the lens hood is beautiful, though. I do a lot of street photography, so I live and die by lens hoods. absolutely recommend them for anything. Just to protect the end of your lens is my big thing. When I'm walking through crowded streets and I want to have my camera ready to snap that photo, I want that lens hood on there, and a metal lens hood is by far the best. One of the things I dislike about this lens hood, though, is that it can be a little difficult to get your lens cap back on. So if I try to get my lens cap back on, I actually have to kind of twist my fingers sideways, and I don't have really big fingers either, and I gotta kind of fiddle with it to get in there and finally get it in there. But it does look really great. I think that's when I compare it to the Voigtlander lens. The Voigtlander lens came with this metal lens hood, so it just screws off here. There's the Voigtlander. Just screw this lens hood back on. But on top of coming with the metal lens hood, it also came with two lens caps. One for just the lens without the hood on it, and one that goes over top of the lens hood. And quite frankly, the other lens cap that I have, I've never put on this lens because I always keep my lens hood on and just use this one. So that being said, the big difference between the two of these lenses was that this one cost me about $1,200 Canadian, and this cost me about $800 Canadian plus $100 to $900 total Canadian with the lens hood. We can do a bit of a comparison here. The one thing I do really like though is this lens is eye-catching. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's fun to shoot with. There's no wider lens right now for the system that I know of. You can see that you really have that kind of classic vintage look, and you really do get a lot of looks when you're shooting out in public with this. People aren't sure if you're shooting old film camera or if it's a old school Leica. It's really got that feel and that essence to it. I'll just do a comparison here with the Voigtlander lens. Show you what they both look like mounted on these two cameras. So with the lens hoods on, gives you a relative size comparison. So I think the best comparable competition for this lens is probably going to be the Voigtlander 17mm. This is the 25, but the 17 has recently come out as well. It's definitely a faster lens, but it's manual focus lens, where this one does have your autofocus on it as well. For some people that's a very big issue. I know sometimes working with the manual focus lenses you kind of wish that you had the autofocus, but at the same time there's something to be said about going back to basics and learning how to focus. It's quite thrilling when you do hit a photo right on the mark like that. And I think that's where Olympus has really hit the mark with this lens, and realized that a lot of people still enjoy working with manual focus and really giving you that quick action. This is just one of those features on the focus ring here, just sliding it back, that I just find myself playing with all the time. Really great lens. Just to recap, some of the downsides for me was the fact that the lens hood was extra on top of it. It is a bit pricey. I know a lot of people complain about prices of Micro Four Thirds lens, but look at lenses for full DSLR systems, and good glass is good glass, so there's always a cost associated with getting good glass. So the lens hood, a little too much distortion I find on the edges when working with this lens. It can be a little distracting. You get that with a fair bit of the wide-angle lenses as well, but would it be nicer if the distortion was down just a little bit? And getting the lens cap on the lens with the hood on can be a bit bothersome as well. But other than that, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, love shooting with it. I think I still love shooting with my Voigtlander a bit more. Just something about that 0.95. conditions where this is a f2.0, so having a bit more speed's nice. This focus ring though is great. Is absolutely great. I wish that they would have incorporated it into more of their high-end lenses. You know, there's a couple of them that they have out now, and I think this one's really hit the mark with that focus ring on it. That's it.